Morning, everyone. Trying something new with when I have a substitute and know I'm going to have a substitute. Knowing how hard math has been this year, I didn't want you to miss a review day before we take a test on what we've learned so far in Module 2. So this is a video to help you review what will be on the test. You'll see the exact same questions in the test. It'll just be different numbers or worded in a little bit of a different way. Um, for this video and all future videos, you need to make sure you there's going to be a few things you're going to need. One is a dry erase board and a marker. If we don't have enough markers, for example, you're going to need to get a piece of paper and a pencil. That's going to be important for some of these videos, or at least this first one, is not to pause it at any point. I just want you to play it from start to end. If there is a lot of questions at the end of the video, you can go back and replay some of them, parts of it. But for time constraints, we don't have a lot of time, so I want you to I will pause myself and give some time but the video will continue to record. That is going, but I don't want you to pause it unless I say that you can pause it. So for this first video, I just want you to play it from start to finish, not pausing it at all. I will pause myself, not talk, during parts of the video to give you time to write and stuff. Okay, so this first topic is expression review. And if you remember correctly, expressions are just number sentences without equal signs. For example, this 12 plus 25 is an expression. It just doesn't have an equal sign. So you can say this by either saying the sum of 12 and 25, or 12 plus 25. They like to use the word sum because that is the magic word that mathematicians use when they're adding. Next one, 7 plus 15, you would say the sum of 7 and 15. As of right now, you don't need to be writing anything, I just want you to pay attention. 12 plus 22 would be the sum of 12 and 22. Well, let's do subtraction. So it says 56 minus 32, but they don't use the word minus. Mathematicians don't usually. They use the word difference. So this would be the difference between 56 and 32. This would be the difference between 76 and 12. This would be the difference between 36 and 25. Let's go on to multiplication. So you say this as 50 times 5. You say this one as 5 times 50, because we can switch the numbers around and it'd be the same answer with the commutative property. This one you could also say 55s, or if you switch them around, you could say 550s. Oops, spell check. There. Now let's do division. So we didn't do division when we covered this the first time, but you have to do it on the test, so we have to cover it now. It's just adding the word divided by or divide instead of all those other operations. So you could say divide 54 by 10, or I think most of you would like to say 54 divided by 10. So you could say 34, divide 34 by 8, or 34 divided by 8. 74 divided by 21 could be either divide 74 by 21 or 74 divided by 21. So those are all the operations you would need to know. Now let's do some practice problems, and I want you to write how you can say the following expressions. Again, don't pause the video, I will pause for you. So I want you to write down how you would say this in words. Hopefully you wrote down the sum of 56 and 15. Next one. Write this down. How would you say this in words? Hopefully you wrote down the sum of 23 and 13. Let's do subtraction now. Hopefully you wrote down the difference between 16 and 2. Next one. Write this down. Hopefully you wrote down the difference between 66 and 31. Now this is multiplication, so there's a couple different ways you can write it down. I'd like you to try to write down both ways for this. Make sure you're writing. Miss Scott, you can also walk around and make sure that people are paying attention and writing what I'm asking them to write, please. I'm sure you could already be doing that. So this is, you could have wrote 15 times 25 or 15 25s. Next one. You should have wrote either 5 times 35 or 5 35s. Go on to division. You should have written divide 14 by 2 or 14 divided by 2. Next one. Oops. Oops, here's the answer. Well, this one is divide 24 by 12 or 24 divided by 12. So now I'm going to give you the words and you will write the expression. So doing the opposite of what we've been doing so far. For example, if I told you the sum, I wanted you to write the sum of 17 and 35. Excuse me. What would you write? Write it down. You should have wrote 17 plus 35. Just like that. How about this? The difference between 26 and 11. Write that down. Should have written down 26 minus 11. 40 times 95. Should write 45 times 95. 7/30s would be 7 times 30. Divide 54 by 8, or I could also say 54 divided by 8. You would write down. Here it comes. Right about now. That's what you should have wrote. 454 divided by 8. This is the end of the first video. I want you to, Caroline can go back to, or Morgan, depending on who's, if they're there. Caroline, if you're there, will be your job to go back to the website and play the second video. We'll start combining operations together. So go ahead and end this video, and so we can move on to the next one. Oop. You saw the messaging there. Let's